Hey everybody, my name is Krishna, and in this video we're going to take a look at ways that you can creatively leverage AI art as a digital artist. So before you get out your torches and pitchforks, this is not a discussion or a debate on the legitimacy of whether AI art in and of itself is real art or not, but I think that as digital artists, we need to kind of look at AI art as another tool in our toolbox that we can really take advantage of. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how you can creatively use AI art within your own work.
I'm going to start off by showing a recent example of a piece that I created on the right-hand side. And my prompt was a gas mask with wires coming out of it. Now, the way I'm using AI art is as a idea generation tool and a reference tool. And I'll borrow and mix certain elements that I like and use that for my own illustration. I'm not necessarily copying every single facet. You can see that I've made certain modifications and I've kind of made this my own. So in using AI art as a reference tool, I think it's a perfectly good way to creatively just kind of kickstart some ideas. If you're feeling, say, a little bit stifled, or you're doing Google searches, you're not quite finding what you're looking for, it can be really, really powerful. So let's take a look and see how this actually works. So when you go to the main Adobe Firefly beta screen, you're given a slew of options here. The one that I'm going to talk about today is this text to image prompt. And the way it works is you simply can either use one of the generated prompts as a starting point, or you can type in your own. So for example, if I were to type in abandoned TV set with wires as a starting point, I can choose the aspect ratio, I can choose the type of content, etc. And you get some pretty interesting results. And let's say that you like where this particular idea is going, you can click on the similar button and you can see variations of this. So why is this helpful? This all of a sudden opens up opportunities. I may not know a specific type of retro television set that I'm looking for, but this gives me kind of an amalgamation of what something like that would look like. And I can use that as a starting point for my own ideation and sketching. So I used a very similar prompt to what you're seeing here to create this piece over here. I actually had two different TV sets, and I was able to modify. I added the cylinders, I added my own spin to it, and I added all the other elements that were sitting around the television sets. So in this way, I'm making the AI art my own art. I'm not just using it as is. I'm using it as a reference for inspiration. And I think this is a really powerful way of working. So instead of fearing the idea of AI art, I think there's opportunities for us artists to actually embrace this and take our creativity up 10 notches. In this example right here, I was looking up, let's see, I think it was sci-fi jet with hot rod wheels. Now, bear in mind, the prompts will generate different results every single time. I didn't save my original prompt, but you can see how I can use it. So I can say oversized hot rod wheels. And there's different options that you can choose from here, and they're pretty interesting. If you're doing any kind of sketching where you're trying to practice your use of volumetric shapes, I think that the AI tools are pretty good for serving as a sketch reference tool as well. You can also look at it from a coloring standpoint. What I also like about a lot of the examples that I'm looking at here is there's a sense of lighting within each of these AI examples. Now, is this 100% legitimate lighting like you'd get from a reference photo? No, I think that there might be some flaws, but I think as a starting point, I think it's pretty darn good. And you can mix and match and use different elements within the AI generated pieces into your own work. Now, if you were to just save something like this directly as a prompt, it's going to have a little badge saying that you've used an AI tool. In fact, I'll go ahead and save it. And it's going to go ahead and download this particular piece. And when you download it, you will see a little ribbon saying image not for commercial use. So yeah, you can't use this image directly, but you can use it as a starting point. Like what I really like about this particular reference is you can see some of the gears and some of the other machinery, and you can use that to get an idea of how machinery might be laid into the steel chassis of this particular aircraft. It's not perfect. It's not a tool that you can say, I'm going to make this airplane and it's going to be a legitimate airplane. But as a creatively inspiring toolkit, I think it's pretty awesome. And in my next video, I'm actually going to go ahead and take an AI generated prompt, and I'm going to walk you through the whole process from start to finish as to how I actually use it. I only have some finished results because I've just been playing around with this over the weekend, but I do find that there's a lot of great potential with this specific tool.
Before I sign off, just a few words about AI art. I think this is just another tool that we can add to our arsenal as digital artists. Is it going to replace digital artists? No, I think it won't. I think that this is going to be much like the way computers were when design was actually shifting from more of an analog type of environment to a digital environment. I think initially people were afraid about computers and what that would portend for design. But 30 years later, we're using computers and we're creating designs that are well beyond what we could have created before the advent of computers. So in the same way, I think we're in this very infant stage of AI art. And I think a good design requires a good designer. A computer can't make those decisions. It can simply serve you input, and it's up to the designer to figure out an effective way of applying that input. So go in with an open mind. Don't dismiss it outright. I think there's some legitimate potential here, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds, and hopefully we'll see Adobe Firefly go out of beta and more people can give it a try and see what they can do with it. So thanks so much for watching. In my next video, as I promised, we will be looking at an AI prompt, and I will show you how I take my own mojo and apply it to what I get from an AI prompt, and I hope that you'll stick around. As always, thanks for watching the videos. I do appreciate every subscribe and every comment, so please keep those things coming, and I'll see you soon. Later.